Luca Majno with you for another edition of Global News Update on TLBTV, courtesy of the Liberty Beacon Project. And this is where we bring you complete and backstage up-to-date info as to the developments occurring in our world today. And this is nonstop every day. Good to see you, Greg. We're down to 2 shows a week, Monday and Friday, but they are very revealing, and we have time to get stuff together. How are you doing today?
Okay, are these shows going to be an hour each?
They could very well be. It's up to us. Yep, an hour is fine.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that the Liberty Beacon is alive and well for the next 10 years, and it's actually going to expand as far as I can tell.
Yes.
All right, going to take on 2 ancillary, very skilled, very talented corporations to make the media itself better, and also to do all the other business aspects that we're getting into. All right, so it should be quite an interesting decade to come for the Liberty Beacon.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because it'll take about 10 more years to tell our listeners what I have to tell them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think the joke is with Greg and I on this show, even if we had a show once a day, we never run out of things to say about what's going on, because there's something different at every turn.
You've got it. Okay. Now, and I'm going to utilize my services. Actually, it's one of my other companies that I'm going to have do a synergistic operation with the Liberty Beacon.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that's important about that is first of all, it'll give me more access to refining what is really going on in the secret world of politics. And also, it's really needed. We've got some really horrific issues that are building. They're not going away. And with the advent of nuclear missiles being shipped secretly around the world,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I think everyone should be put on notice. Okay, so I want to make sure that we get this out. So thank you for speaking to Roger and getting us a 2 times a week show and in the important time slots. So because it's going to be needed, and I can tell you it's going to be needed within the next 6 weeks. Get it? All right, 6 weeks. Everyone listening? 6 weeks. Okay. What on earth is on Snapshot, Luca?
Well, I'm going to have to share screens with you, Greg. That was a great intro. Check this out. This is what is going to be on Snapshot today, but not right away. Just to give you a little hint, America's bombed 6 countries in 6 years, okay? Iran hasn't attacked anyone in 300. Iran is not your enemy. And we're going to see why. Well, it's just one of those times again, we just got to make war. We got to make war. You know, it's getting to that reserve. We got to make war. Iran really does want war, Greg. Look at how close they put our country to our military bases. Okay? That's about the size of it. Look at how close they put their country to our military bases. Well, we'll get back to that in a minute. No, when I see Iran, I see a big heart. I do. And like we just said, America's bombed 6 countries in 6 years. You know, the 7-year campaign? Well, we're going to bomb 7 countries. Well, why are we going to do that? I don't know. Iran hasn't attacked anyone in 300. Come on, okay? Meanwhile, the CDC to hold briefing on how America, you know, the public can prepare for nuclear war, right? They just got to, you know, throw that in today, right? Just to get us used to a nuclear war coming. And because we're going to talk about Israel, I know we're going to talk about Israel, I had to throw this one in very quickly. Israel is the only country in the Middle East that has nuclear weapons. Israel is the only country in the Middle East that has refused to sign the Non-Proliferation Treaty and bars international inspections from its sites. We can go back to that too if Greg wants to, but I just wanted to throw this in because this is illegal, and as we know, we're sending them billions a day. So going back to Obama, I thought this was really interesting. I got this today. And you see Obama and Gaddafi shaking hands warmly, right? After you pick up the Nobel Peace Prize, look at the man in the eyes, shake his hand, and give him a warm smile before you murder him and virtually all his extended family, since they targeted the residential compound, and watch him be killed on your satellite TV screen, visibly celebrating for the USA media cameras, with their self-identifying feminist Hillary Clinton. I'll never forget that laughter either. If you remember, we came, we saw, he died. Nice work. Now Libya has no civil infrastructure with open slave markets, your greatest legacy. How can the world not love your generous country? This is something that you might want to talk about, because when you look at what America does, and after America passes by, this is, 4 of the good examples that you're looking at. Absolutely destroying, pillaging, raping. It's very obvious. Changing bedfellows whenever they need to. Greg's writing down. And then blaming it on somebody else.
The Russians did it.
Blame it on somebody else. I think that dog is back again. He was here before. Greg, very quickly, before my time is up, because I can feel the heat coming from California. I can feel that heat coming because you've got so much to say. I have to say this. I'm going to say it 3 times a year. This is coming up to our 90th show. And I said it today on social media, and I'm going to say it again today. And I know that Greg is right behind me in saying it. I want to issue a huge apology to all Muslims around the world. It's a group that I'm not a member of. It's one group that cannot be held responsible for the 9/11 event. And it is the group that is blamed for this event, which are the Muslims around the world. Let me say with resounding clarity on behalf of all sane thinking people, we are deeply sorry that Muslims have been falsely accused of the events of 9/11, and that subsequently countless Muslim lands and people have endured the farcical war on terror. We apologize for the invasions, occupations, drone strikes, torture, Guantanamo, for all the maiming and the death that has rained down on you. Let it be understood from this day forward, and this is one of the reasons why Greg and I have our shows, from this non-Muslim, that we know that the 9/11 false flag was intentionally and falsely blamed on you as to cultivate a clash of civilizations. We reject the war on terror in total and shall identify those responsible come hell or high water. That's something that comes from Ken O'Keefe in his video on YouTube that you can see whenever you want, called Who Did It and Why. Breaking news. The Koch brothers warned that raising their taxes, it could very well force them to lay off dozens of congressmen.
Boy, there's some congressmen now that are really shaking. Okay, yeah. I'm sure of that. You can take their mistresses, you can embarrass them in the media, doesn't faze them one little bit. But boy, don't cut off their kopecks, don't cut off their shekels, don't cut off their kroners or their dollars. All right.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're not done with Israel yet. Israel is a thief. Every year, the Israeli government takes $4 billion straight out of the back pocket of American taxpayers, which is illegal, to fund their genocidal and to fund their genocide of Palestinian people, while America's poor go hungry. Okay, like Greg was saying, no for war. It's finished. We shouldn't have any more wars. Well, we should say no to this too. And while I was looking into boycotting several Israeli products, I thought that was interesting how deep it really touches. Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Nestle. If you look at the Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren. On a humanitarian note, Greg, you actually tell me that I bring the humanitarian aspect into the show. When you reflect, okay, and this is serious, when you emphasize on what has happened and what's happening now and what's going to happen, you know that minorities are always targeted. They're always targeted. And in looking at what happened, okay, you can look at a picture like this and you can say, what country is it? Where is this? Oh, Baltimore or Ferguson? Take your pick. In America, okay? This is how it was done through history. And Hollywood gives us a really, really good glimpse every now and then. And this is priceless. This is the head honcho in the movie Avatar that tells people that, we're here to get the minerals. Would you please just do something? And, let's do our job, okay? Notice what he has in back of him. He's got a dream catcher on the wall behind glass. Very, very, very important picture as far as, telling people how serious the issue is. Whether it be the Aboriginals in Wyndham Prison in Australia in 1902, okay, or whether it be the Arapaho children, hundreds of Arapaho children from Wind River Indian Reservation locked up in Carlisle Industrial School. It was called Carlisle Indian School in 1881, okay? Or you can see the assault on the Palestinian boy by an Israeli soldier, okay? They want to make us believe that this war is all in the past, but it's not. It's far more than that. This is the foundation. These are the building blocks to build the empires, colonial empires. They learned how to manage the masses, how to destroy communities and sacred cultures thousands of years old, to obliterate and then rewrite the history to their advantage. It's called genocide. And on the lighter side of the news, I know we're going to talk about this sometime, Greg. The CIA runs the pedophile rings. You can see Eisenhower at the Bohemian Grove in this picture. And they opened the door to everything from MK Ultra to child abuse. Uh-oh, fire department. Oh no, room full of servers, hard drives destroyed in Clinton house fire. Oh, to protect Roger Clinton. We got to do your research, folks. You got to do your own research. Roger Clinton, her husband's half-brother, ties to Oak Beach, New York murders of many, many young female escorts, and retired NYPD officers are witnesses. FBI has the memos and evidence of who else was involved in those secret parties. We won't mention any names, but you can see them and you can do your own research if you want. Here we have Theresa May planning to remove Britain from treaty which prevents torture, slavery, and unfair trials. I thought that was interesting for Greg. Greg's going to write that down. I know you got a mouthful to say about that one. And then after you go to church, okay, you support a preacher who lives in a $10.5 million home, travels in a private jet, while you can barely pay for rent and medications. Who do you think is the fool? Welcome to Joel Osteen's private jet. This is the swamp monster.
What wasn't his quote, Luca?
What?
I'm sorry, wasn't Joel Osteen's quote? And I need to plagiarize this from Joel Osteen if I won't get sued. Okay, wasn't he the fellow who said, "God wants me to live in an $8 million mansion"?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And everybody chipped in and bought him an $8 million mansion. And isn't he the fellow that when there was a massive storm, people were desperate, and he ordered the cathedral, or his what is it, the Osteen Dome or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
They ordered the doors locked so no one could get in.
Right.
Isn't he the benevolent, kind humanitarian? All right. Isn't he the one?
Yes, he is. And there are plenty of them. And when I love the show we did on that. You talk about Jeff Sessions, and I called him Jeff Swamp Monster now. I want to know what you think about this. This man holds investments in the privatized prison system. He's reinstituting maximum penalties for low-level drug offenses. He will literally be personally profiting from incarcerating more individuals. So I know we're going to talk about the indictments and the war in Washington, but for now we have to remind people at least every 5 or 6 shows, I think, of this guy Robert David Steele, who says, and we quote again, "Every single terrorist attack in America was a false flag," which means it was made up, which means that they profited from doing it to do it, to do whatever they want and attack whoever they want somewhere else. If millions of people believe the lies again and again, it's because that's all they hear. After a while, it becomes the only thing they want to hear.
Yes, that's called a comfort zone.
Yes.
And that's what we have, a comfort zone.
We got 2 pigeons looking at each other. One pigeon says to the other, "What are other words for tacit agreement?" The other pigeon says, "handshake, bond, contract, deal, pact, pledge, understanding, pactum. You know, if pigeons can talk to each other like that, surely we can. Surely we can do a little research. And that's all, folks, for this edition of Global News
Okay.
Update.
You know, when I come on your show, Luca, I always feel that I should relate something to what the everyday man sees and actually can take advantage to help take advantage of, and but also to help change things. You know, everybody's, well, what can one man do? All right. Well, it's funny. Tell that to our founding fathers. Tell that to Russia. Tell that to Germany. Okay, all those countries, they had one person make a difference. Okay, now once you climb up the ladder, it's pretty normal to pull the ladder up behind you, so others don't try to do the same thing. But the thing is, as I was sitting out in California, we have what's called Trader Joe's. Nice place. I don't know if you have it back in your neck of the woods, Luca, but the thing is, it's a nice kind of a cuisine type, store that has always a nice atmosphere, a little smaller, but very good products. And they always have somebody out front who is trying to get some sort of signature, collection or whatever may bother you. You know,
Yes.
like in California, we're getting a price tax increase on fuel like every 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's being brought to us by Moonbeam Jerry Brown. Okay. And Moonbeam, funny thing, I did a little checking, and Moonbeam's family owns all the stock of urea. Okay. It's basically a protein made from cattle products.
Mm-hmm.
And what this urea does, it's used to be a pollution, a device, like on trucks, things like that. But the thing is, what the point I'm making here is, it's great because the Brown family, and Jerry Brown can talk about saving the environment and all this, but every chance he gets, he raises taxes on the working class. All right, you don't think this bothers, the Orange County crowd here in California, do you? Or Rodeo Drive or 90210, okay? Doesn't bother them. It bothers the working class who actually have to pay real money, not make-believe money, but real money, okay? So, I watched this poor guy standing out there, freezing cold today, and I'll bet it was an hour. He had 4 separate signing lists, for different issues. Not one person, he asked everyone that came out, not one person wanted to take the time to give this guy a hand and sign on these different issues and ballot issues, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What are people thinking? All right, here you have somebody doing something. Somebody ought to do something. This is all you hear normally, right?
Yeah.
Somebody ought to do something. How much effort does it take to sign a petition? All right, sign that goddamn petition. All right, step up to the plate, people. That's what these politicians are counting on. You being too self-centered, self-serving, too much in your comfort zone, not to do something about it, not to think about it and remember it, and I was watching a lot of these people treated this guy with contempt.
Yeah.
Contempt.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in this situation, hey, it's a great effort by someone else to help you, keep your politicians under control. Now, I know America is not like, say, someplace like France, where they try to put a tax on, say, agriculture products. Hell, the farmers in France would get on their tractors until a load of cow shit, into Paris and dump it on the streets in protest. Funny thing, then the taxes get repealed, all right? Okay, let's grow a brass set of people, grow a brass set of balls, and step up and start doing something. Start protecting yourselves. Do you understand that? Protect yourselves. Right now, we're at a very precarious situation, all right? See here, for example, right here, I got this today on my way out of Trader Joe's, okay? All right, what does it say? Dirty laundry. Guess what? Who's climbing out of a washing machine with lots and lots of money? Donald Trump. All right? God, what in the last, 3 weeks, a month? What have we seen? Oh, we're going to basically annex Jerusalem, kick everybody out and put our embassy there, okay? Why do you think Donald Trump would do something like that? Why do you think he would be causing that kind of aggravation to the people that have lived there for, 1,000 years, okay, or more? All right?
Yeah.
Why do you think he would do that? Because shuck and jive, oy vey, homie, don't you know me? We've got a picture of him, and you could probably find this and post it, Luca. Picture of him shaking the hand of probably one of the greatest criminals in the Middle East, Bibi Netanyahu, who, by the way, didn't win his election like they're trying to present. No, he used America's, election engineering, the premier election engineering group, okay, to get himself elected. And now here he is, he's probably under indictment as I say this, and a big criminal investigation, all right? And here he is shaking hands, high-fiving it, and they're both wearing mochas at the time, okay, with Donald Trump. And by the way, here's something, pound sand if you don't like it, folks. Little Jared Kushner, the boy next door, okay, guess who's controlling? Guess who's giving orders to Donald Trump? Oh, no one gives Donald Trump orders. Guess who? Little Jared, okay? Do I need to make that any clearer? Do I need to spell it out? We're in a country, the most powerful country in the world, that is kissing the ass, kissing the backside of a country that has not only annihilated Americans, showed no mercy in the process. We've been sending $60 billion a year to these jokers that have been, and their business GNP has been in the black for several years now. Okay, they don't need us. They're just taking lots of goodies because they've infested our political system. All right, and now, by the way, this cover story right here. Here, I'm going to give everyone a little clue. All right, it's Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank is now implicated with Mr. Trump as being involved in some shady leftist Soviet banking system engineering. Okay, there's that Russian connection again. Well, here I'm going to contribute something as my political duty. Okay, you might be looking at Deutsche Bank, folks. Yeah, that's what they might be telling you. But here's where you should be looking. Dresdner Bank. Do I need to spell that for you? Dresner. Dresdner Bank. Next biggest bank next to Deutsche Bank. Okay. Now, what I find interesting is Deutsche Bank basically had the vice president, Buzz Krongard. You remember Buzz Krongard, who made how many millions and billions of dollars betting against the two airlines, okay, that plowed into the World Trade Center? Yes, all right, that Buzz Krongard. And who was he working for at the time? CIA, Cocaine Importation Agency, all right? And now you want to wonder, okay, what's been going on? You know, basically, they've been going on, okay? The Israelis, the Saudis just made an announcement how wonderful it is that they're getting together and having a tighter bond and relationship with Israel, okay? Gosh, what's the word? I'm going to write a song called The Don May Blues, okay? Everybody remember the Don May Blues? I told you all about it back in 1492. When the Hebrew lobby got together and told Queen Isabella, no, not to worry, we'll finance Christopher Columbus's expedition to America.
Yeah.
To do what? To do what? Okay, we all know this. To do what? To locate and cite the 7 big cities on the new American continent. This is what they did when they got here, folks. And if they can't find gold, all right, here's what they're going to do. They're going to bring over super cheap manpower. Anybody from Africa want to comment on that? Call in and comment on that. Who started slavery in America?
Yeah.
Who started slavery in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, Cuba? Anybody have any ideas? Oi, oi, yes, it was all Hebrews, folks. And guess what half of Columbus's shipmates were? They were all businessmen looking for a new market to exploit, okay? And yes, Queen Isabella was annoyed, the Torquemada was annoyed by their behavior, and that's why they started the pogrom at 0001, midnight, basically, on the very same night that Isabella told Columbus, Christophe Colon, okay, to be on his boat, leaving for the New World. If he was there at 0002, he was going to be visiting the Torquemada, the Grand Inquisitor, okay, the Grand Inquisitor of Spain, okay? Anybody see the connection now? All right. Well, I'm just getting warmed up, folks. I hope you're ready for more, okay? Because I've got more, okay?
Well, this is all Rothschild Zionism is basically what it is. You can see the power play by the richest people in the world.
And what do we have now? The Saudis, okay, kissing up to the Israelis after they paid for the attack on the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Yes, the Saudis paid for it, okay? And yes, the Israelis came in with the help of Marvin Gaye Bush, or whatever his name is, Marvin Bush, and gave the Israelis the keys to the World Trade Center so they could take the several months that it required to wire and maneuver Trade-Core explosives into the World Trade Center, all right? And then who did his best? Absolutely moved heaven and earth to keep a decent investigation of the World Trade Center bombing, okay? And gee, it's given us how many wars now? What am I bitching about? Hey, we're losing how many people a day now? All because of, almost including me, by the way, all right? Because, hey, Marvin Bush, all right, let the Israelis come in and blow that building to kingdom come, all right? Gee, okay, does that make it clear now? Okay, and who benefited? Israel. Even BIBI says that, okay? Netanyahu says that. It was wonderful. Gave them every right to go in and wipe out the Palestinians, okay? Now, all right, yes, and by the way, what is it? Oh, Friday, I'm sorry. Now, what do we have? I just learned this in the news, okay? I actually watch the news too. It's not all psychic mysticism that I get this information from, folks. Right. Okay, I just use psychic mysticism to confirm. Okay, so what do we have? We have Donald Trump very quietly shutting down the voter fraud commission that was suspected, that Hillary Clinton was suspected of. All right. Now, why would he do something like that? Maybe because getting very close, folks. Okay, what is going on? And underneath it all, you won't see any announcement of this, but I confirmed it yesterday, is the pipeline coming from the Prioshka Basin, Siberia. Wasn't Siberia Russian? Last time I checked, it was. I think it's the deep freeze of the former workers' paradise, okay? Well, that pipeline is moving along very, very nicely, okay? And underwater, it's about halfway across. It is about halfway across the Aleutian land bridge from Russia to Alaska, okay? You don't even know about it. No one knows about it except for a handful of American engineers. American ones, that's right, okay. So guess who is going to partake in the goodies? Who? Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Homies. I mean, gosh, now, who's his other homie? Bibi Netanyahu, okay, who's busy dissecting the Middle East with American help, of course. All right. You know, and I've already told you, Iran, Iraq, Syria already had an agreement to move natural gas, all right, linear natural gas across from the South Pars gas field, where? In Iran. Okay, and they're going to move it across Iraq and then Syria into a Mediterranean port right above Israel. Okay, gosh, is anybody getting an idea of what's happening here and why they're doing it? Okay, I know they own, the CIA owns all 6 media outlets. No question. I have more to say about that, by the way. Okay, but here, folks, think about that. Are we being fed a bill of goods or what? From day one, okay? From the moment that bullet went right through Kennedy's tie, his silver necktie, and Dealey Plaza, hey, it's been all downhill, hasn't it? Okay. Well, as I said last week, last show, since it started there, I think the American people have a right to know that Kennedy isn't in the Arlington Cemetery, sleeping a restful sleep, the great sleep, R.I.P., right next to Jackie, okay, right up the hill from Bobby, okay. So what is it, folks, with these people? They're doing it right out in plain sight because they know that these pimped out politicians go from the only one that really wasn't pimped out was, by the way, was Jimmy Carter, okay. And you see what they did to Jimmy Carter, all right? But the thing is, we've been fed a bill of goods since Kennedy had his brains blown out and he was shot through the neck. That's right, that was the killing shot. He was shot from the front through the neck by one of the 8 assassins surrounding him on Dealey Plaza. And by the way, the sonic boom that everyone heard, it wasn't from a jet. Wake up, dummies. It wasn't from a jet. They had a free fire zone on Kennedy. It didn't matter where he was. If they had to beat him to death with baseball bats, he wasn't leaving Dealey Plaza. Got it? Okay. And and the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, ever heard of, was the body switch going on in Air Force One and Air Force Two, and the forensic surgeon that they brought in to make the wounds look alike. And G. Gordon Liddy, by the way, who I've had a chance to meet years ago on Terminal Island Prison. Check out where G. Gordon Liddy went to prison, by the way. All right, San Pedro, California. You never really hear about that part of this whole thing.
No.
Well, he didn't go to prison for killing J.D. Tippit, who now rests in Officer Tippit, who rests in the grave site of Kennedy's, grave, okay, under the eternal flame. No, it's J.D. Tippit, okay? He looks like, walks like, talked like Kennedy, okay? That was his death knell. That was his bellwether, so to speak. Poor Officer Tippit doing his job, and he was shot and killed by G. Gordon Liddy, okay? So, yes, I am annoyed today to learn all this stuff. And then I find out over the weekend, I spoke to somebody who had the contract to blow up Oklahoma City, okay? Oklahoma City. And you're going to hear much more about that before this is all said and done. Well, oy vey, okay, yes, it does go back to the CIA. The CIA did this, all right? And by the way, I have something else to tell you. I think I mentioned it the other day. And I didn't know that Israel signed off on the death warrant for Kennedy, okay? I think I mentioned it the other day.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
But Ben Gurion, the father, here comes the interference. I can hear it now, okay? Ben Gurion, the father of Israel, was pissed at Kennedy because Kennedy said, no, you're not going to have nuclear weapons, Israel. So what do? And by the way, this wasn't too long before that Kennedy was shot, okay? I'm suspicious about that, okay? Because let's face it, who has the premier assassination teams in the world? Oi! Okay, there it is, folks. Well, funny thing was, Ben Gurion had to resign, next thing you know, after Kennedy insisted he was not going to have nuclear weapons, especially what was happening at Dimona. Go ahead and write that name down, Dimona in the Negev. It was Kennedy who stopped him. Next thing you know, he gets his head blown off conveniently, and Dimona starts up. Okay, so check it out. Okay, yes, we've had a bill of goods sold to us, stuffed up our rectums ever since the agency and all its road dogs got together. Okay, and if you don't think I'm correct on this stuff, all right, there's a famous picture of Alan Dulles, okay, the pipe smoking, paternal looking, grandfatherly looking director of, guess what, the CIA, sitting on the ranch 3 weeks before the assassination, sitting on the ranch down in San Angelo Way, okay, of LBJ, all right? What do you think they were talking about, okay? Well, I can tell you what they were talking about, because Kennedy, as I found out recently, Kennedy was busy. He knew where the form of revenue, the black op budget, okay, whenever you hear black ops, that's what you assume, folks. Don't even try to think about it. I'll do your thinking on these issues, okay? All the drugs, okay, which started in 1948. What happened? God, everything happened in 1948. It took 3 years for all these nefarious groups to put together a public ripoff program of the American people, but it happened in 1948, 3 years after the war ended. What happens is, hey, we can sell drugs, illicit drugs, to the American people for Chiang Kai-shek to pay his troops. Okay, and that's when it started. And that brings us to the day, by the way. All right, so what we have is something going on like this. Yeah, it went from, let me see, Chiang Kai-shek and China, and then it went to Vietnam, the Golden Triangle, all right? And by the way, I'll give you something personal, my personal aspect on this, okay? If you want to hear it, it's always good. I try to make it interesting. The drugs were being shipped from Laos, Cambodia, okay, and Vietnam. The Iron Triangle, the Golden Triangle, you can even call it the Emerald Triangle if you want. Whatever, that's where all that dope was coming back, okay? Guess what? Most of it was packed into the cadavers of your loved ones, all your relatives and loved ones that died in Vietnam, fighting the Viet Minh, okay? Well, guess what? No one cared. The agency was busy stalling any peace effort, okay, to cynically drag the war out for several years. Up until that point, that was the longest ground war we had ever had. Up until, wait, I'm getting an inspiration here. Afghanistan, the opium capital of the world, which is being controlled by the CIA, wink, wink, get it? Okay. Yeah. And what do we have now going on? As I said, I'd bring it up to today. We have the largest opium epidemic in history anywhere. We have more people dying and using opium products now, than the Chinese had back in the 1800s. All right. We're dropping like flies. And do you think that CIA is going to slow up cutting this fat hog? That's what we are, fat hogs, all right? I think that's interesting. Fat hog and Israel, okay? Get it? Wink, wink, okay? Well, folks, no, we start something with Afghanistan, and long after, Osama bin Laden's been gone, okay? We're still there, and they're going to escalate the number of troops there. Why? Oh, and they're bringing in Blackwater. As I pointed out, who's Blackwater? Well, they don't work for the U.S. government, okay? They work for the State Department. And who brought him in to do all that dirty work? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton. Okay, that's who Blackwater works for. Hillary Clinton. And who do you see in the fields now of Afghanistan? Okay, you see Blackwater and Special Operations Forces protecting the growers. And then, I just love this part, is guess who they're dropping bombing raids on like they did in Vietnam? The competitors to the contractors that were providing drugs to America.
Right.
And that's what they're doing in Afghanistan, bombing the competitors' opium fields. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Well, boy, they're going to do something good with that bit of nonsense, right? They're going to eliminate the competition. Just ask Pablo Escobar, okay? Everyone knows who Pablo Escobar is, okay? Well, guess what? He got out of control, and he and Freeway Ricky Ross, okay, decided that no, they weren't going to put their products through the Bush Combine, okay? Just ask Gary Webb, who was killed less than a quarter of a mile from where I'm at now, all right? Gary Webb, CIA putting dope on the streets, okay? And you saw what happened to him, all right? So what we have now, folks, is we have Hillary Clinton, whose #1 supporter is Israel, all right? And they're working on getting a combine going with she and because remember, torture is a very bad thing, all right? Right, Luca? That's what we started out with tonight, showing torture. Humans hurting, causing massive pain to other humans for several reasons, all right? Well, folks, after being tortured myself, believe me, I don't see any goodness in it, okay? All I saw was our government scrambling around the Supreme Court, who can't be bought. Oh, please, give me a break, okay? That can't be bought, all right? Well, when they got my case, 14-15050, okay? You got it, okay? Yes, they peed all over themselves, all right? They weren't going to let my case go into court. Are you kidding me? Weapons of mass destruction? Are we being jammed up again, Luca?
No.
It looks like it.
No, we're just coming very close to the end of the show, though. But
okay. Has this been 1 hour?
Yes.
Okay.
Very close.
Well, folks, by the way, going back to the Iran-Iraq issue, all right, you're right. Iran has been causing a little bit of trouble. So what? Okay. Gosh, they caught a bunch of spies, American spies, and had them in our embassy. Okay. So what? Who cares, right? Well, here's the deal with all of this. Remember, and I can say this personally, okay, I'm trying to stay within our time frame. Okay. Personally, I found the 29 weapons of mass destruction, nerve gas, at Balad Air Base in the bunkers, okay? Now, I didn't go find it out of the thin air. I had the commander of the fighter bomber wing take me to those weapons of mass destruction. And that's what those weapons ended up 1 million people in Iran, killing 1 million people in Iran, okay? Now, how many weapons of mass destruction from Iran have killed Americans? Anybody care to venture a guess? It's really easy. 0, okay? The big 0. That's how many weapons from Iran have killed Americans. Okay, there it is. No, Iraq did not have anything to do with 9/11. So we had a very bad thing. We did a very bad thing. We invaded an autonomous country, all right, nationalist state, all right, who was run by a CIA operative, had to shut him up first, okay? And then the weapons that the Carlyle group sold to Mr. Hussein, okay? And I have the picture of both Cheney, Dick, right? Okay, Dick Cheney shaking the hand of Hussein, sealing the deal. 5 hours later, they were being dropped on the Anfal campaign. Okay, the Anfal campaign, killing hundreds of thousands of Kurds. Okay? Yes, everyone remembers all the mothers carrying their babies, trying to run for their lives, and dying mid-step. Okay? Yes, that VX gas is very effective. Okay? Actually, the reason I know it was VX/GF was in the bunker and found the bills of lading and shipment. Okay? Coming from Fort Rucker, okay, where they were reconfigured, P-400 bombs. They were sent to Pine Bluffs, Arkansas, where they were put on rail beds and sent to the Houston waterway. There we go again. There's those damn bushes, okay? God, what do they do? Sit around thinking about things to do all day to destroy, the human race, okay, and make money off of it?
That's what they're doing.
Right. You got it.
Greg,
so there we go.
I can't thank you enough for another show. We do have to go.
I wanted to say something in closing, okay? I'm very upset about it, okay? And what I'll do is I'll say this. I just found out something that really disturbs me greatly. Daniel Ellsberg, the icon of being a hero, standing up and doing what was right. Well, it appears that Daniel Ellsberg was actually an operative agent, provocateur, all right, who actually was set up and used by the CIA to get back at, and this is why I talked about those weapons of mass destruction, to get back at Richard Nixon, okay? Richard Nixon, who was going to start the first SALT II agreement and get rid of nuclear weapons, get rid of biological weapons, and get rid of chemical weapons. Who was the person who came out and made the attacks on Richard Nixon? Well, he was being directed by the CIA. Daniel Ellsberg. Daniel Ellsberg, that kindly gentleman, wise man, and he was being directed by the agency to expose juicy facts about Vietnam. Did he ever go to jail, prison, like they were saying? Oh, yeah, pound sand, go to jail, go to prison, right? If you notice, his charges just kind of like disappeared,
right?
All right, kind of went away very quietly. Well, there's lots of stuff about the plumbers, okay, in Watergate, and I found out just yesterday that my suspicions were correct. Daniel Ellsberg and his sidekick, Phil Zimbardo, okay, are provocateurs from the agency, and they are providing access to people like me, okay, who stood up and did the right thing, people like me, and they have reported this all along to the agency, all right, to the agency, okay? I want everybody to know that because last night, Daniel Ellsberg gave a talk about missiles, ICBM missiles, okay? Gee, okay, no one knows anything about ICBM missiles. But funny thing was, some of the information he was giving, putting out, was only information that the CIA had for several years, okay? So, folks, understand, we have been sold a complete bill of goods, and Mr. Ellsberg and all these other folks that are claiming to have done something good and kind for the American people, their agency. Yes, Kennedy, when he said he was going to destroy the agency, okay, and cut off their funding, and go to cut off their funding, he had it right. Cut off their funding in Vietnam. Whoa, there we go again. It goes all full circle, okay? Everything goes full circle. Cut off their funding in Vietnam, and what did they do? They blew his head off. And then the next day, they were returning to Vietnam the next day.
Yeah.
All right. I just exposed everything that the agency has been trying to keep undercover. And remember, Kennedy isn't in the grave. Okay, he's not at Arlington. Okay, understand that. That's how secure the agency has felt in doing exactly what they wanted to do, and they think it's funny. They think it's funny that they have fed the American people such a raft, a super tanker of bullshit. Okay, there it is. That's what I have to say tonight, this evening. Okay. Any
Well,
questions you think that anyone has on that? Luca,
it's just like
have them call you.
it's just like 9/11. You know, they're laughing about us with that too, and they're laughing about the fact that the memorial down there at Ground Zero is done by the Israelis. So anyway, we're really glad. I'm really glad that we can touch on good subjects like that, because we can always come back when you have more updates, because I know you wrote most of it down.
Well, let's make 2018 memorable. Let's make 2018 memorable, all right? Enough of this, you know, taxpayer funded bullshit, all right? Okay, that's what I want to put out. And any questions, I don't want to have a bunch of Joe Sixpack kind of questions. I want to have, you know, very viable questions put to us, okay? That shows smart people are listening, all right? So there it is. If you wonder what's going on about the Middle East, there it is. You know, we're winding up for 3 more wars in the Middle East alone. So there. Thank you. Thank everyone for listening tonight. Okay, Luca?
Thank you so much.
Okay, I can see we're under heavy attack right now, so I better let you go.
No, we're not. Everything's fine. Have a good night.
Oh, you ought to see it from this end. Okay.